The disciples were experienced fishermen. Some of them had spent their entire lives on this exact lake, working it in every season, in every kind of weather. They knew its moods, its currents, its dangers better than almost anyone alive. They'd seen storms before. They knew how to read the sky, how to brace a boat against rough water, how to survive conditions that would terrify an amateur. And yet, on this particular night, these same experienced men became so certain they were about to die that they woke Jesus up in a full-blown panic. Not because they were new to storms, because this storm was different. Because for the first time, the danger felt bigger than their skill could handle. And what Jesus does next, in the middle of their terror, is going to tell you something about your own fear that you genuinely need to hear today. So stay with me. To really understand this story, you have to understand the day that came before it. Jesus had spent hours teaching enormous crowds along the shore of the Sea of Galilee. So many people pressing in that at one point, he actually had to step into a boat just to have enough room to speak to everyone gathered on the beach. He taught in parables that day, story after story, pouring himself into people who kept pressing closer and closer, hungry for more. But by the time evening arrived, he was exhausted. Not symbolically tired, genuinely, physically worn out, the way anyone would be after giving everything they had to a crowd all day long. It's a detail that's easy to skip past, but it matters. Before anything supernatural happens in this story, we see something very human first. A man who has poured himself out completely and now simply needs rest. As evening settled in, Jesus turned to his disciples and said something remarkably simple. Let's go over to the other side. No dramatic warning attached to it. No hint that anything unusual was about to happen. Just a quiet, ordinary decision to cross the lake, the way they had probably done dozens of times before. Without a second thought, the disciples, many of them professional fishermen who knew this water like the back of their hands, didn't hesitate for a moment. They climbed into the boat, and a few other boats followed alongside them into the darkening water. Oars dipped into the surface. The shore began to slip away behind them. The sky shifted slowly from gold to deep, settled blue as they pushed further out, with absolutely nothing in that moment suggesting the night ahead would be anything other than routine. For a while, the crossing is completely peaceful. The water lies calm and unbroken. The boat glides smoothly across the surface of the lake, oars dipping in and out in a steady, practiced rhythm that these men could probably keep up in their sleep. Stars begin to appear overhead one by one as full darkness settles in around them. There's nothing in this moment, nothing at all, to suggest that anything is wrong or about to go wrong. If you had been sitting in that boat right then, you would have had no reason whatsoever to feel afraid. This is just another night crossing on water these men had sailed more times than any of them could even count. Everything for now feels completely, entirely under control. Calm water, a clear sky, and a boat full of men who know exactly what they're doing. And in the back of the boat, worn out from a full day of teaching and pouring himself into the crowds, Jesus lies down on a cushion and falls asleep, deeply asleep. Not a light doze he could snap out of at the first sign of trouble, but the kind of sleep that only comes from real, honest physical exhaustion. This detail matters far more than people usually give it credit for. Jesus wasn't distant from human tiredness. He wasn't somehow immune to needing rest the way the rest of us do. In this moment, he is fully, completely present inside the ordinary reality of a human body, one that has given everything it had that day and now genuinely needs to recover before it can give anything again. It's easy to rush past this detail on the way to the miracle. But it's worth sitting with for a second, because it says something true about who he actually was. Then, without warning, everything shifts. The Sea of Galilee sits low, cupped in a basin, surrounded by hills and steep valleys, which means storms here can form almost instantly, with barely any notice at all. Cool air rushing violently down from the surrounding highlands and colliding hard with the warm air sitting over the water. What started as nothing more than a gentle breeze becomes something else entirely within just a few minutes. The water that had been glass smooth only moments earlier begins to churn and darken. The stars overhead start disappearing behind fast-moving clouds, swallowed up one by one. Something is changing, and it's changing fast. Quickly enough that the men on this boat can feel it in the air, feel it in the sudden shift of the wind against their skin, before they can even fully explain to themselves what's happening around them. Within minutes, this isn't a passing gust anymore, not even close. The wind is howling now, genuinely howling, and waves that started out as small ripples have become full walls of water, crashing hard and relentless against the sides of the small wooden boat. Water starts pouring over the edges with every single swell, faster than anyone can wipe it away. The men aren't rowing to make progress anymore. They've abandoned that entirely. Now they're fighting. Physically fighting, just to keep the boat upright and pointed into the waves instead of sideways to them. This is the kind of storm that experienced fishermen. Men who had survived rough water their entire lives and thought they'd seen everything this lake could throw at them, still recognized immediately as something genuinely, seriously dangerous, something absolutely worth being afraid of. The boat is taking on water fast now, faster than anyone can keep up with. Every wave that crashes over the side leaves more water pooling around their feet, and no matter how quickly they try to bail it back out, it simply isn't enough to keep pace. These are men who make their living on this lake, who have weathered real storms before and live to tell about it. And even they are beginning to genuinely, seriously believe they might not survive this particular night. Fear starts spreading through the boat, loud now, undeniable, impossible to hide or push down. Voices are raised over the howling wind, shouting instructions, shouting warnings, shouting each other's names. And through all of it, somehow, almost impossibly, Jesus is still asleep in the back of the boat, completely undisturbed by the chaos surrounding him. Finally, in complete desperation, they make their way to the back of the boat and shake him awake. And what they say in that moment is raw, unfiltered, stripped of any pretense or politeness. "Teacher, don't you care that we're about to drown?" It's not a gentle request. It's practically an accusation, born out of pure, overwhelming terror, the kind of question that only comes out of someone when they genuinely believe their life is seconds from ending, and the one person who might be able to help seems completely unaware, or worse, completely unconcerned about what's happening. There's real fear packed into that question. Real vulnerability, too. And honestly, there's something deeply, painfully human about it. Because how many of us have asked some version of that exact question ourselves, in our own version of this storm? Jesus wakes up, and there is no panic in him at all. None. No scrambling to assess the situation, no fear in his eyes to match the fear surrounding him on every side. He simply rises to his feet in the middle of a boat that's being tossed violently from wave to wave, standing steady and balanced in a moment where standing at all should be nearly impossible for anyone. Every other person in that boat is holding on for their life, knuckles white, bracing hard against each impact, unable to do anything but brace and wait it out. And Jesus stands up, calm, completely composed, facing the storm directly, as though it isn't the overwhelming, life-threatening force everyone else in that boat genuinely believes it to be in this exact moment. There's no hurry in his movements, no urgency. Just quiet, steady authority, standing upright in the one place in the entire boat where standing upright shouldn't even be possible, right now. And then he speaks, but not to the disciples first. He speaks directly to the storm itself, standing steady while the boat still rocks hard beneath him. He looks out at the howling wind and the raging sea and says simply, plainly, "Peace. Be still." Just 2 words, no elaborate command, no dramatic ritual, nothing theatrical in how he says it at all. Just a direct, quiet word spoken with complete, unshakable authority to forces of nature that only moments before had grown men, experienced fishermen who knew this lake better than anyone alive, absolutely convinced they were about to die that very night. It's one of the most understated moments in the entire story, and also one of the most staggering because of exactly how little effort it seems to take him. No shouting. No struggle. No visible strain at all. Just two quiet words, spoken like someone settling an argument that was never really a fair fight to begin with. And immediately, the wind stops. Not gradually, not slowly fading the way storms naturally do when they run their course. Immediately, instantly, completely, as if a switch had been thrown somewhere far beyond anything human eyes could see. The waves that had been crashing violently against the boat begin settling into stillness within seconds. The water goes from total chaos to perfect glass in what feels like the space of a single breath. The clouds overhead begin to part, revealing stars that had been hidden away just moments earlier, scattered quietly back across the sky as though they'd never left. And the boat, which only minutes ago had been nearly overwhelmed and taking on water, now sits completely calm on perfectly still water, as though the entire storm had never happened at all. As though it had simply never existed in the first place, leaving no trace behind except the memory of it. The disciples are left standing in stunned, complete silence, staring first at the water, then at each other, then slowly back at Jesus. Nobody says a word for a long moment. The only sound left is water gently lapping against the side of the boat, impossibly calm compared to what it was just moments earlier. Jesus turns to them and asks two questions that cut right to the heart of everything that just happened. Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? It isn't a harsh rebuke, not delivered with anger or disappointment in his voice at all. It's an honest, searching question, asked of men who had just personally watched him control the wind and the raging sea with nothing more than two spoken words, and who, only minutes earlier, had been absolutely certain, beyond any shadow of doubt, that they were about to die out on this open water. Here's what strikes me most about this story. Jesus didn't rebuke the storm because the disciples' fear was foolish, or because their danger wasn't real. The wind and the waves genuinely could have killed every single one of them that night. And their fear made complete sense. He rebuked it because he was right there with them the entire time, present, aware, in control, even while he was sleeping through the worst of it. Their fear wasn't really, at its core, about the storm's raw power. It was about whether they truly believed he was still present, still fully in control, even in the moment it looked to them like he wasn't paying attention at all. And honestly, I think that's the real question underneath most of our own fear too, not whether the storm we're facing is real, because it usually is, but whether we actually believe he's still in the boat with us, even now. So let me ask you directly, what's the storm you're in right now? Maybe it's financial pressure that won't let up. Maybe it's a diagnosis you weren't expecting. Maybe it's a relationship quietly falling apart, or just anxiety that won't loosen its grip no matter how hard you try to calm it down yourself. This story isn't telling you that your storm isn't real. It clearly was real for the disciples too. It's telling you that he's already in the boat with you. Right now, even in the moments, it feels like he's asleep or distant or unaware of what you're going through. If this encouraged you today, hit subscribe and share it with someone who genuinely needs to hear it. This channel is a family, and if you're new here, welcome, you belong. Next time, we're looking at a moment where a small amount of food fed thousands of people, and what that reveals about what God can do with the very little you're currently holding on to. Subscribe, turn on the bell, and I'll see you in the next episode.